I'm making this announcement in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, being Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, laws of the state of New Jersey. The Planning Board Secretary has prepared a schedule of the meetings of the Planning Board of the Borough of Kenilworth for the year 2022 and has posted a true copy of the schedule of the bulletin on the bulletin board located at the front entrance of Borough Hall, and has mailed true copies of this schedule to the local source, Star Ledger, and is maintaining a copy of this schedule in Borough Hall. Accordingly, the notice of requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been satisfied in regards to this meeting. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Paserno?
Here.
Mr. Finestrella?
Here.
Mr. David?
Here.
Mr. Bantina? Here. Mr. Dowdy?
Here.
Mr. Colella?
Here.
Mr. Scuderi?
Here.
Mr. Herbalario?
Here.
And Mr. Demondo?
Here.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes.
There's none
None
presented.
presented, right?
None presented.
Okay, so how about communications? Old business? Wow, they're flying. Resolutions, Kenilworth Board of Education, David Burley High School, Harding Elementary School, Mr. Rego.
Yes, on May 12th, the board heard as a courtesy review, representatives of the Board of Education, specifically with regard to upgrades and renovations that are proposed for the David Brearley School and the Harding School, involving structural modifications and other mechanical modifications. The board obviously consented to the project. The only recommendation I recall we had was that the board review the proposed drop-off area for students because it's near an intersection. So this just memorializes your recommendation that the project should move ahead.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution? Motion made by Mr. Venestrella, seconded by Mr. Colella. Roll call?
Mr. Paserno?
Yes.
Mr. Finestrella?
Yes.
Mr. Scuderi?
Yes.
And Mr. Herbalario?
Yes.
Okay. The next resolution is FDV Realty, application 21-02, 203 and 207 North 15th Street.
Yes,
Mr. Rego.
this is Mr. Paparato's application for those lots on two lots on North 15th Street. It's a minor subdivision. He wants to divide one lot into two lots that will be totally conforming in terms of size, 75 by 100 feet. He proposes to put a two-family residential dwelling on each lot for a total of two-family residential dwellings. The board approved it, and I added as conditions, our normal conditions in terms of filing the minor subdivision within the appropriate time frame. We had the condition involving the appearance of individualities of housing units and the rest. So that's what this is, to memorialize that approval.
We have a motion to approve this resolution. Motion made by Mr. Venestrella, seconded by Mr. Scuderi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Paserno?
Yes.
Mr. Finestrella?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Dowdy?
I didn't hear,
You didn't hear that
I
case?
didn't hear this case.
Do I have your sheet? Is that what?
Sorry.
The last
I was
meeting.
at the last meeting, I was not at the last meeting.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Mr. Scuderi? And Mr. Herbalario?
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along. Application 1-22, Shannon Ryan, 47 North 7th Street, Block 72, Lot 11. Anyone here for that application?
Kathy, how are we on notice and publication for that one?
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes, Mr. Frazier.
I just wonder if I could just address the board for 1 second. I'm being told that my application is not being heard tonight. And I just would like to just make sure that I clarify that I understand the situation. I know you can't fight City Hall, so I'll then retreat, but I'm just wonder if the board might respectfully entertain that first, given the nature of what it is.
The Ryan family, would you mind, Mr. Frazier, just addressing us real quick? Mr. Frazier,
Thanks,
please.
Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the courtesy. Donald B. Frazier, Jr., Prod Frazier and Forrester, on behalf of the applicant PFP. I just literally, within the last 4 to 5 minutes, have been advised that my application is not on the agenda for this evening. I had personally conferred with Iris yesterday, and I was left with the understanding that we were in fact on the agenda. I've been trying to reach Mr. Rago for the last 2 to 3 weeks to discuss this matter.
Go ahead.
Okay? Whatever it is, I don't want to have an argument about any of it. It is what it is, and I will painfully accede to the board's position that I'm not on the agenda. However, given that I have noticed everybody, I would ask that my notice be carried, and then we not have to renotice for the July meeting.
Mr. Frazier,
I think there are two issues. One with the,
yeah, there are 2 issues, and with respect to the other applicant, this may take a little bit longer than
Then
5 minutes, or 2 minutes. So
All right, well, then that's fine.
would you mind holding off, and we'll come back to it?
Yeah, sure, I don't want to
But,
prejudice.
Mr. Chairman, we are not going to carry notice. I think we should just get that out there. We're not carrying notice. It needs to be renoticed.
Okay, so
That's our position.
I think, and I agree, but I think dealing with Mr. Fraser as a professional and understanding that he's been before us, I didn't want to just give a blanket no. I would like to explain what this board is about and why and what we were doing. And basically, we don't carry a notice. So,
If the answer is no, the answer is no. Mr. Chairman, you said there were 2 problems, so that I'm not left in the dark with that hanging over my head for the next month. What's the second?
well, that would take us getting into it with, in terms of the amount of time that the board had to review the packet, correct?
yes.
That's done, so let's fix what needs to be fixed for July. And right now, you do not have adequate notice, is my understanding.
Yeah, Don,
I'm not going to argue with it. I'm accepting what I'm being told, and if the answer is
Okay.
no, you cannot carry notice.
from my perspective for the notice, Kevin was handling the application per se, Karen and Iris. From my perspective for notice, and we've talked about this, you need to, first of all, I think your overall notice was a little thin. You mentioned a warehouse, your client wants to build a warehouse, and you need a parking variance, and that was it. I looked at Christian's memo, and, there's a warehouse, there's actually 2 of them, with an office component. They had square footage, you're going to do some drainage, some landscaping, lighting on the property. I think that should be included in the notice, so if I don't know what's going on and I read it, right now I see a warehouse and parking. I have no idea if the warehouse is 50,000 square feet or 2,000 square feet. The other thing is the white slips. Legally, I don't care about the green ones. That's just when people receive it, if they ever do. And I know you told me about Pitney Bowes and an affidavit I saw from your secretary, but nowhere did I see the white slips. I have the white slips, but they don't have any stamps on it. And every board I've ever worked for and in front of wants to see those white slips with the post office stamp. Because Pitney Bowes, it might be, you put a stamp on it and it takes a couple days to get it to the mailbox or something like that. So I need those white slips and a little more meat on your notice, and I'm okay with it.
How about this, Mr. Rago? I'm going to rewrite a new notice. I'm going to send it to you in advance so that you can comment as to whether or not you consider that notice to be sufficient. I respectfully disagree with your position on the notice, but I'm going to comply because you can't fight City Hall. I'll send that to you in a couple of days.
That's fine.
What is the July hearing date, Mr. Chairman?
14th.
What is it?
14th.
Are we on in July, or we're on in July?
Yeah, I think we were planning on not being on in August, right?
Right, yeah, we're not on in August, so,
Yeah.
so we're on in July.
Works on damage control. I'll do something. We will
And
be ready.
there's plenty of time for notice, you know.
And we would request, Chairman, that anything that has to be submitted to the administrator or the secretary be in 2 weeks prior, 10 days is the statute, but so that there's no misinterpretation of what's in, what's not in. Let's have all this sorted out by June 30th.
But other than notice, Mr. O'Brien, you have everything.
Ms. Ramos, do you have everything?
Yes, we do.
Then we have everything, yes, sir.
So, Mr. Frazier, one more thing, and this is not something else that you need. The board has some criteria in place, and that is that we don't look at anything unless the applicant has everything in order. So if you had your plans in town hall here 20 days prior, even though our time is 10 days prior, we won't even look at it unless everything is in order, because it could be, with respect, a waste of time for us if you don't have everything in order and we can't hear it anyway. We would move on to a different application. So with respect, in the future, anything that you're giving us, just know that that time frame for the board to review your documents is 10 days.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm just saying how we do it here, because, you know, we're a board that has to have time to review what you're giving us, not on the application side and the do's and don'ts, but the plans and things like that. That's what we need. So even if you got this stuff in on the 4 days before your hearing, we haven't reviewed your plan because we're in that 10-day span.
I heard you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify.
I understand, Mr. Chairman, and we'll deal with it.
Okay,
Send the notice, and we'll be good.
I'll let you see it in advance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Going back to application 1-22, 47 7th Street, Shannon Ryan. First, I would like to thank you very much for yielding to Mr. Frazier and these items. Okay, can you please state your name and address for the record?
I'm Shannon Ryan. My address is 47 North 7th Street.
Okay, and,
Keith Ryan, and I'm with
okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to speak up loudly so we can hear you on the microphones and things like that, and I think it's time to swear in our professionals.
I want to swear in the applicants too. With regard to Christian, our board engineer, and Kevin O'Brien, our board planner, gentlemen, with regard to this application, do you swear the comments and testimony you're about to make shall be the truth?
I do.
Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, if you could raise your right hands, please. With regard to this application, do you also swear that the comments and testimony you make shall be the truth?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you're the applicants and you're the owner of the subject property?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Lou.
No, do you have, is Mr. Grimaldi here for you?
No.
No, I didn't think he may have been for the previous applicant.
Okay. Are you two going to be the only witnesses?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're sworn in, our consultants are sworn in, and,
In order to make this an easier transition, we're going to ask Kevin O'Brien, our board planner, to kind of walk you through or help you through the process with some questions and answers. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Okay.
Ms. Ryan, can you, Kevin O'Brien. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the project and what you intend to do?
So I bought the house.
Nice and loud and-
I bought the house back in January. So it's 47 North 7th Street. I've grown up in this town my entire life. I like Kenmore, I like people. And so I was fortunate to find this house, which is a good spot for me. The house itself is a smaller size. And what I'm looking to do is go up on the second floor and do 2 feet out front, cantilever in the front and back. And then also an overhead on the front porch. And the issue that I need a variance for is that the current setback from the street to my house is 20.18 feet, and with 2 feet in front of it, it's come out to 18.18 feet. And so I know the town requirement is 23 feet. And then the back, it's not an issue for the back because the back of my property to the house is about 50 feet, so that's within the limits. And then the overhang over the steps is about 5 feet, and so the setback with that will come out to 15.18 feet.
you're aware that this board would have to approve a variance application, which would require a majority of the membership here this evening.
Yes,
Okay. When you take a look at your side of the street, the eastern side of the street, would you characterize it as being roughly equivalent to the setback of your home?
yes,
Do you think that with the addition in the front of your house, that you would still be roughly equivalent to the other homes on the eastern side of the street?
yes,
Now, the western side of the street is somewhat different, is it not?
yes,
In that they are further set back,
that is correct.
but you believe that you are more in character with your side of the street. Do you think that by adding to the second floor and creating a new space up there, which will be visible from the street to your neighbors, both across and to the sides, do you think that that will create a bulk and mass that will intrude onto that street in any way? Do you think that it will fit in with the character of the neighborhood?
I think it'll add to the reflection, it'll be intrusive on the way.
Can you tell us what the house will look like when you're done? In
Done.
terms of colors?
Okay, so right now it has like a tinnish orange colored brick on the face of it, and right now it's a Cape style house. I think there's pictures you can see.
Okay.
So after it's done, the second floor part, that's you will have the vinyl siding, and the first floor will still have the rock siding.
Will the new HVAC system be added?
Yes.
Will that be on the side of the house? The rear of the house. Kenilworth does have an ordinance about positioning the HVAC system. It's got to be at least 5 feet away from any property line, and if it's within 5 to 10 feet, it's got to be buffered with either a fence or bushes, some type of natural barrier, so as not to intrude upon your neighbors. Will your plan meet those requirements?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The existing garage that you have has a pre-existing side setback of 2.19 feet and a pre-existing rear setback of 1.58 feet. So this is where 3 feet are required. In your opinion, was that garage built around the time of the house, say before the 1960s?
Yes, at the same time.
So in your opinion, would that have been built prior to the ordinance on that particular setback?
You mean this application?
In terms of the garage, the pre-existing garage, do you think that was built prior to the ordinance requiring a 3-foot setback?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. The applicant has requested waivers from lighting, but no lighting plan is required since this is a single-family home. The township master plan does say, quote, ensure that the new residential development is consistent with and compatible to existing neighborhood character. And one of the requirements of the board in passing a variance is to make sure that we do meet existing neighborhood character. Do you believe that your home would meet that goal, the master plan?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that there would be any negative impact upon any of your neighbors?
No, sir.
Do you think that this application can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and will not substantially impair the intent and purpose of the zone plan? Those are my questions, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Mr. Reagan?
So Kevin, we're dealing with the, as far as variances, we're dealing with the lot frontage for both floors or for the second floor?
For the second floor overhang.
Right. And the same with the front yard?
204 lists the numbers.
Okay.
You need the numbers unless you want them.
No, I have.
Okay. And there's also the pre-existing condition of the side and rear setback on the garage. May as well put down the resolution and
Yep.
save them from future problems,
Yep.
if any.
I will put that in. So we're granting you relief from the accessory garage because it doesn't comply, but since it's apparently been there for a long, long time, we're going to grant you relief from that. You're not doing anything with the garage, you're not making it larger?
No.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Mr. Carter?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Christian Cueto, the board engineer. Just a couple questions. You're not adding any additional sidewalk You're not enlarging your driveway, you're not adding any other material that would be considered impervious outside of the addition over the first floor, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. That is actually, that's all I need.
Pretty cut and dry. How about any questions from our board? Mr. David?
Yeah, Ms. Ryan, who's actually building the addition? Because, not that you're required to, but normally the board would have like either a contractor or an architect who has, like actual architectural drawings of what's being built with the measurements and so on. And obviously I can see, it looks like you may have prepared this, and again, that's fine. But I am interested in like who's actually building this for you.
We have a contractor do it.
You do? Okay.
And Ms. Ryan, you're aware that you'll have to submit building plans should the variance be approved. That would have to meet the satisfaction of the building inspector.
Yes.
Mr. David?
That's it? Oh, yeah, that was it. I just,
Was it?
yeah, I didn't know if your dad was building it, or, again, it's more, I guess, more of a curiosity thing, but anyway, I'm satisfied.
Anyone else? Really? That's pretty good. Okay. Seeing no one else that has questions, we have to open the floor now.
Motion to open the hearing to the public?
Motion made by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Demunda. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this case and this case only? Seeing none.
Motion to close the hearing to the public?
Motion is closed by Mr. David, seconded by Mr. Fenestrella. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so what's in front of us is we already recited, and the plan is self-explanatory. There really are no conditions.
Just on normal, pay your taxes, get approvals from whoever you need, and I will add the accessory garage just to cover that. They don't have to come back.
Do you understand what he's doing with the accessory garage that's right now non-conforming, and we're going to put that part of his plan so you don't have a problem with that going down the road if you should do something with it, correct, Mr. Rego?
There's nothing you have to do.
None you have to do, it's
We're just going
administrative.
to put it in there so it's visible in case later down the road you want to sell
I
it.
just thought of an extra question. You're not adding or have plans to add like a large deck on the back of the house after the fact? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's clear. So, is there a motion to approve this application based on what's in front of us and everything that we heard here tonight? Motion made by Mr. Fenestrella, second by Mr. Scuderi. Roll call, please.
Mr. Paterno?
Yes.
Mr. Fenestrella?
Yes.
Mr. David?
Yes.
Mr. Cantina?
Yes.
Mr. Ladowdy?
Yes.
Mr. Colella?
Yes.
Mr. Scuderi?
Yes.
Mr. Herbalario?
Yes.
And Mr. Demanda?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. You have to take the house down. No. Good luck, and thank you very much. Yeah, and the garage got to be.
We'll have a resolution for you at our next meeting.
So, Ms. Ryan?
Ms. Ryan, we're going to have a written resolution, which we have to do by law, available for you at the next meeting. We'll read it. You don't have to be here. We did two earlier on this evening, so you will get that sooner than later, the written resolution. You may be asked for it by the building department, so.
But if they want to be here to pick it up, they could at our meeting on July 14th.
July 14th, and it's kind of exciting. You get to see it, and you get to see the gentleman that was in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You did a good job.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, moving on. Any comments for the good of the board? Seeing none. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, just like with all the new, like in my area, I live around Tulip Court, around that area, park, and there's so many Cape Cods going up to these 4 or 5 bedroom houses. And the parking is just getting, is there anything we can do about the parking? Like, they're building like these 3 or 4 or 5 bedroom houses with like a small driveway that you can fit like 1 car on or 2 cars on it. And the cars are all parked, I mean, you can't even get down the street sometimes anymore. I don't know if that's part of our duty here, or...
I mean, part of our master plan, right? We could have required or recommended additional parking.
I mean, it wasn't really thought of
He's right.
10 years ago, but now there's got to be 6, 7 houses going up in our neighborhood.
Yeah. It's something that we could discuss with
Okay.
the master plan, and you know, we're very active in that now,
Right.
and we're going to be on top of it, so, Mr. Ladati, that's 100%
Yeah.
spot on. So we'll look at that.
Okay, thank you.
You're
We
welcome.
could even look at the RSIS for
Yeah.
the multi-bedrooms.
Yes, I mean, most of the applications that we've had, everyone was able to fit, the cars on, either in the garage or in the driveway, so.
But yeah, when they say they have two, but when they have 6 or 4.
The problem is nobody wants to block themselves in.
Right,
And even if you have a 2-car wide garage, you can only go 2 cars wide in your driveway, so.
right. It's just
People
becoming,
usually
it's not
use
becoming,
one garage, everything, they call them chucking the.
it's kind of losing the flavor of the town with all the
Yeah.
cars parked.
Nobody wants to park in their driveways, period.
No.
The only other thing that I'd like to add is I would really like to thank Iris for coming up and explaining herself and all the hard work and everything that you did there, and I think you're doing an outstanding job over there. It's tough, you're shorthanded, and like you said, you have 3 hats, but I actually never saw you wear a hat. Getting away to blessed hearing, I guess, but in any event,
Motion to open the meeting to the public.
motion made by Mr. David, second by Mr. Fenestrello, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none?
Motion to close the meeting to the public.
Closed by Mr. David, again seconded by Mr. Fenestrello, all in favor?
And finally, aye.
Okay, made by Mr. David, second again by Mr. Fenestrello. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone, and thank you very, 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 very much.
Since our next meeting is